You're listening to Living in Spain podcasts with David Wright.
Hi and welcome to another one of my podcast shows. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the costs of building and maintaining your own swimming pool here in Spain. Okay, so let's get right into it. So the last 2 years I've been building my house here and it's almost finished now. Anyway, I decided that towards the end of the last year we wanted to put in a pool, and we did do a lot of research looking at the liner pools, the above ground pools, the plastic liners you just dig a hole in and connect up. We did go into it quite deeply and found that in the end probably the best was a proper pool, or what I call a proper pool. That's a concrete in-ground built pool. So we went with the concrete system pool. And what we did was we paid a guy €200 to dig out the hole. Now we decided on a pool being 9 metres long by 4 metres wide and about a metre deep at the shallow end, with some steps inside the pool leading down in the corner, curved corner steps, and then going to the deep end, a bit of a slope up to 2 metres maximum at the deep end. Now at the deep end I did build a slow ramp leading up one side with a seating area, which is like a bank seating, all made out of concrete, just enough room for about 4 or 5 people to sit at the end of the pool facing towards the end of the pool, because later on when I've finished the house build and everything is all finished, I want to build above pool bar, and that means that when you're sitting in the pool you can pass drinks through the pool bar hatch to people sitting in the pool. That is the idea anyway. So the cost of building the pool, 200 odd euros to dig the ground out. I paid a guy that was doing some digging work locally here. He got a machine, came around and dug it out in a day. A long day, but he'd done it in a day. Then I paid 2 guys that I researched a lot and saw what they did and pools and watched videos and pictures of what they did, because I was quite keen to make sure it was a well built pool. Anyway, so I got these 2 guys that did all the brick work and cement work for the walls, and then they did all the reinforcing. Just the reinforcing alone took over a week. All the rebar on the floor, up the walls and along the top edge of the pool before it was all tiled. All the rebar was done and all the supporting. Looked like it was a hell of a lot of rebar and mesh going in. And then they paid a company, a 4-guy company, to come and spray special cement on the walls. Now the special cement was designed for pools especially, and it had a fibre built into it, so it was a quick drying cement with this extra resin fibre, and that was a very strong cement for swimming pools. Then after it was dry a couple of weeks, I did the painting myself. I painted a resin on the walls, a waterproof resin, which is just like a white sticky paint. That took a couple of weeks to dry solid, and then I did the tiling myself. Now the cement and the building of the pool, I paid the guys 6,000 in total. That's for all the materials and all the labour. And then I paid €100 for the paint to paint the walls myself. And then we paid another €1,200 for the tiles, which I did myself. Now that was the wall tiles. We got a 300 by 150 tile on the wall. I didn't go with the little square blue ones, which I liked, because I've seen a lot of people have problems with that in the years here. So we decided to go with a decent, similar to what's in a bathroom really, but it's specially designed for the swimming pools. And we went with a light grey colour, because we've seen pools with that light grey colour, when they're full up the water looks a little bit Caribbean green sort of colour, so a turquoisey colour, so we really like that look. So that's why we went with a light grey tile. Freshwater pool, we filled it up with fresh water. It took over it was €400 to fill it up with fresh water. We got a tanker in, because if you use the hose pipe it takes about a day, and once you reach a certain amount of water, then your water company will charge you a higher standard for that filling up. So it's best to get a tanker. So it would have worked out a lot more expensive to do that. So we went with a tanker and they filled it up in about 20 minutes. So after digging out the ground, paying the guys to do the brickwork and the cement, I did the tiling, and that, as I said, it was about another €1,200. My plumber, I paid him €700 more or less for the pump, the filters and the lights, all connected up. So we're looking around 9,000, under 10,000 for the pool. The capping stones were really expensive. I bought the old-fashioned style cement slabs with a curved edge, which is really comfortable to sit on and easy to maintain and clean. So that's what we went with. They're a little bit expensive, about €20, €25 per tile. So the last year we've had so much fun in the pool. My neighbour's got a same size pool, both sides, and they've both paid between 16 and 20,000 for their pool, so a lot more than I did. Obviously a lot of that is the labour costs, and shopping around I did get a pretty good deal, I must admit, with the guys, but it's always best to check out because not all pools are built the same way. And my neighbour to the right of me at the moment, he's having a pool built, and it's not to the same construction standards as mine. So, you know, we did put a lot of rebar in, and it's reinforcer in the top edge, so there's no way the pool can move. This is something you want to get right the first time, and the cement base is really important as well. Lots of rebar, lots of reinforcing, and well compacted dirt before you even put any cement down. And they did put what they call it in Spain, or in English anyway, it's a cement base. It's about a 50mm cement base just to walk on and prepare before they put the real concrete slab and then the cement on top of that, so it just stops you walking around a muddy pit. But it was all compacted down with gravel on the dirt before the first lot of cement, which was 50mm, goes down, and then a much thicker cement on that top of that. I think it was a 15mm thick on top of that with all the reinforcing bars. So really well done. I've got some videos and pictures of this on my blog if you want to come over and see that. It's BritishExpatsInSpain.com. Loads of blog posts and videos of that, also on my YouTube channel, so come check it out, see how well it is really made. But yeah, is it worth having a pool in Spain? Well, I think so. Originally my wife was put off by the cost of everything, and building her own house, a lot of time consuming and money cost going into it, so we decided that we'd probably do a pool later on. But at the last minute I said, look, you know, before we lay the grass, the artificial grass and everything, we're going to make a lot of mess, let's just dig it out and do it now, and we'll finish the pool later. But as it happens, it was such a hot summer last year, we decided to fill it up, and we used it for the first year without the tiles, and then last year we actually tiled it. So I've been running it for a year now, finished with all the tiles and everything. So running costs, well, I spend about €10 a month maximum on chemicals. I buy the chemicals from the Chinese shop up the road, actually, what I call the Chinese pound shop, because really any of the chlorine tablets are pretty much the same, the tablets I put them in, but I put them in a floatable container on a piece of string, so when I put the pump on at night, it pushes the container into the middle of the pool, so the chlorine is in the middle of the pool in this container. And if the chlorine rots the container, they're only €3 a container. I buy a new container, you can get them from DIY shops here, but putting the chlorine tablets in the skimmers at the end is not a good idea, because it does rot the skimmers, and to change the skimmers and the plastic after a couple of years is very expensive. So it's best to put it in a pot and have it on a bit of string, so it just dangles in the pool and it floats around in the pool. When you use the pool, I just take it out and put it on the side, so that's a good tip. Salt water is another way to go. You need different pumps obviously for that, but I went with the fresh water. People say one thing is better than the other, you can argue this one, you know, everyone's got their own ideas on it. But and all the chemicals as well, I use a minimum amount of chemicals, and the pump we have on, people say it's expensive. I don't get it, it's not expensive. We have our pump come on a timer at about 1 o'clock in the morning for 5 hours every day, and I find that more than enough to keep the pool clean. When it gets a bit dirty, a bit cloudy, then I put in some deflocculant, I think it's called, and that just settles to the bottom. Then I vacuum it all out. I do a good deep clean at the weekends if I know people are currently going to use it, so it's nice and clean. At the weekends when the electric's cheaper, if we're using the pool, I do have the pool on a couple of hours on a Saturday or Sunday during the day, if we're going to be using it. At the winter, well, this winter I'm going to keep the pool running on a low economy setting, so it won't be as clean and it won't be filtered as often, but it will keep it running throughout the year with a lot less chemicals in it, just to keep the bugs and everything off, so it'll be easier to clean it and maintain it for the start of next year. So I hope these tips and advice has helped on building a pool in Spain. It doesn't cost as much as you think. If you get a company in to do it all, you can spend a lot of money. My neighbour's having heating fitted as well to his pool, so that's going to cost him a lot of money. I did look into solar panels to heat in a pool, and when I do the pool bar at the end of the pool, which is going to be at the end of the pool, maybe next summer, then I'll maybe put in a couple of solar panels on there on a filter system to run the water through the pool, so the 2 solar panels will heat the pool water. See how that goes. That's probably the cost effective way to go on that. So yeah, that's it for building a pool in Spain. I hope these tips have helped. If it has, please just leave a quick comment or a like and let us know what you think. Thanks for listening.
If you have enjoyed this podcast by David Wright, then you will love his new books. Out now on Amazon and Kindle, packed with money-saving tips and information on living and working in Spain. Just go to livinginspainbooks.com. David also has a popular blog for expats in Spain. Come and take a look now at britishexpatsinspain.com.